And what's up, everybody? I can't find the intro. We'll figure it out, or I'll Deech make us a new one. But guys, we're back. The baseball season is 2 weeks away from today. By this time, in 2 weeks, the White Sox will have played their first game, and the baseball season will be underway. So this will now not be our normal scheduled timing, but for the next couple weeks, it will be. I'll get into the details later in on that. But how are we feeling, White Sox fans? It's been a long off seasons. If off seasons, it's been a long off season. If you are a football fan, I mean, one hell of a Chicago Bears season we had. Got to love it. It was a good year. It was a good winter to be a Chicago sports fan. Bears definitely did that. So let's hope the summer the White Sox can do the same. So we're here to just catch you up what's been going on in the spring training, the off season, talk about how everybody's feeling, talk about anything you want to talk about. If you want to talk about some wrestling, sure. We all know we love ourselves some wrestling. If you're watching here on Tino's Time or over on the Southside Boys, wherever you're watching, I'm thinking we're going to be doing all the episodes simulcasting. Guys, I've been trying to say that word all day long. Simulcasting on Tino's Time and the Southside Boys YouTube channel all year long. We're going to be having some watch alongs again. You guys know how much we love Tino, at least I do. I don't know about Deech and Justin. We try, but they just don't want to come on. We'll get them, though. But we'll be having some watch alongs for games. MLB The Show 26 comes out for early access tomorrow and on Tuesday for regular release. So we'll be doing some of that. And I also thought we did some of the retro WWE games on Tino's Time. I thought it'd be fun to do some of the old baseball games too. Plug in the PlayStation 2 and maybe play some Slugfest. Xbox, we got the Bigs. Anybody ever see the Bigs? That game has been fun. So let's get to the chat. Let's see if we got anybody here. And let's talk about it. And then we'll get into all the news, notes, and rumors. If you guys do watch Tino's Time and do watch the Road to WrestleMania episodes, the preview shows, stuff where we just sit here and chat and talk. It's kind of how today's episode and next week's episode are going to be. Deech and Justin will be here when we officially start the season. I will let you know what that day will be after we go through the comments. But if you've watched those episodes, that's kind of how it's going to be. We're going to go over some pictures, stuff, some news, all of that. So leave your comments, your concerns, all the things, and let's talk about it. So we got Alex in the house. What's up, Alex? He says, I think the guy from Japan, Murakati, right? I think I said that right. Hopefully, Deech was testing me before we went live here because I don't know how to say anybody's name. It's funny because I've been saying it and then I get in front of the camera and I forget how to say it again. So here we are. But similar to Mr. Jose Abreu, Mr. Pito, MVP Pito, that was one hell of a year. And in general, man, I love Jose Abreu. You'll always be a White Sox. He goes up there for me again. Maybe not everybody. For me, for the first basemen, and he's there with Paul Konerko and Jim Thome. Even though he didn't win a ring, and Paul Konerko was the only one to do that. And Frank Thomas also can't forget about Big Hurt. But Jose Abreu has landed. All the other guys from that core, though, Mr. Luis Robert, we'll talk about that trade today. Luis Robert is now the newest member of the New York Mets. Yohan Moncada is injured apparently today. Tim Anderson ain't in baseball. Eloy Jimenez is in the minor leagues. And that whole core it's time to wipe away. And it's time to look ahead because, as the title says, it is a new year. It's a new look White Sox, and it's the year 2026. So 2025 was a good stepping stone, and they did some good things, but it's time to move on to 2026, and I think it will be some good things. So, whoa, from Tino's Time, hanging out over here. What's up, Eric? I appreciate you. If you guys have not yet subscribed yet to the Southside Boys, go make sure you do so. We're on the road to 100 over here. We're on the road to 300 over on the Main Event Network, Wrestling Network, if you are a wrestling fan. And on Tino's Time, we're on the road to 4,300. I feel like I sound so bad when I do that, though. But all of them, if you like me, if you like wrestling, baseball, anything, go subscribe to all the channels. I sound like Triple H. It's a new era. If you guys don't know, Triple H comes out and says it's a new era every other week in the WWE. BDA. What's up, BDA? What's up? How you doing, bro? Appreciate you coming and hanging out. I want to get some more guests here on the channel. We're going to try to make the Southside Boys a little, we're going to incorporate some things that we do over on the other channels and the other things, and let's see how that works this year. But let's not waste any more time, and let's get into all the news, notes, and rumors and all the things that I have here to talk about. If there is anything I do miss, I do have a couple things on my phone I probably will miss, but if you guys bring it up, let me know. Let's go over some some of the good things. We got some promotions coming out. If you're going to the games, we got some concerts going down. So let's talk about those things before we get into all of everything else that's been going on. So for me, let's talk about the bobbleheads. I don't really collect the bobbleheads anymore. I kind of have been selling a lot of mine and everything else like that. But I still like to look at them. I still think they're super duper cool. And for me, I mean, I kind of want that sweatshirt more than anything. But you guys know how I am about my bobbleheads. We got a Kyle Teal. We'll talk about Kyle Teal. We got Edgar Kiro bobblehead. We got a Bobby Jenks and AJ Pierzynski from the 2005 World Series, their moment. We got a Los White Sox jersey. That's kind of cool. I might have Deech get me one of those. We got Chase Maedroff bobblehead. And we got a Colston Montgomery bobblehead. Those are not all of the promotions, but we will have to see all the other ones that will come out. And they have already come out, but we'll have halfway to St. Patrick's Day. We're going to have the T-shirt days, I think it is. I think they're going to have $1 hot dogs on Wednesdays again or Thursdays. Deech, if you're in the chat, let me know because I know we know Deech is at all these games. So Deech should help us out here. But these promos look fire. I'm definitely going to try to get that. Is it like a jacket, a hoodie? I don't know what it is, but that looks cool. It's the thing in the top left, the kind of looks like it's like the Bulls White Sox thing. That's just for me though. So we'll see how that plays out. Also, we got some we also have I did want to show this is going to be a mural that is going to be at the stadium on 35th and Shields now. So if you do end up going to a White Sox game, definitely go check out the mural. I think all the stuff around the stadium is honestly so cool, and the things that they have is just one of the other stadiums, and I've only been to a few others, so I guess I really can't say that, but I feel like the White Sox definitely, they might not do a good job always putting a good team on the field, but they definitely know how to put stuff around the field to make this field look really cool. So, something else to look forward out for that this season. We also got some concerts going down. We got Cole Swindell. We have Marshmello. And then we have this other guy that we're going to have to take a look at their Instagram so I can make sure that we say this fella's name right because I don't know. They literally just announced this 6 hours ago. So, we got Marshmello. We got, what is it? J. Rule. There we go. We got J. Rule, and we got Cole Swindell. So, White Sox concerts. I don't know if you guys have ever been to one of those, but it's after the games, usually a Friday night. They have had some really good ones. I know our guy Bobby Stevenson. We had him on the channel a couple years ago. Professional wrestler and everything, country singer, doing all the things out there, but big White Sox fan. And he was at one of them maybe last year or the year before, but also talking to Deech and everything and other people that have been to these games. They are really fun to go to. So if you're looking for a Marshmello concert, honestly, that'd be the one I would go to, that I would know the most songs. So I do kind of know Cole Swindell, but out of the three, Marshmello is definitely my favorite. So Marshmello, Cole Swindell, or J. Rule, who are you going to go see on the South Side this year? And apparently, I don't know if the rumors are true. And I know, listen, I'm a diehard White Sox fan. But apparently, WWE's talking about bringing a show to Wrigley Field. So if we have to go to enter Wrigley Field again, we may very well have to. But maybe, just maybe if it goes well there, maybe they do something and maybe the White Sox could host something. I think that would be really, really freaking cool to see. And all of that, those things. But we also have some spring training games before we get into all of the players and all of the other things that we have to talk about today. Let's get into some free games that you can watch as they are now playing spring training. The spring training games have begun as of this past week. I think week and a half, something like that. But starting on I guess they've already started. So on 2/28, which was a couple weeks ago. So there has been 2 games as of this moment that have been on TV, and I didn't even know. Well, that sucks. Oh, well, starting tomorrow, you could watch the White Sox and Dodgers. Tomorrow you watch the White Sox Cubs. Saturday you could watch the White Sox and Dodgers. On 3/19, which would be next Thursday when we're back here, maybe we'll have the game on while we're live. White Sox and Padres. And then the 21st and the 22nd, the White Sox will take on the Dodgers and the Mariners. Oh, we got to love Seattle after Seattle won the Super Bowl, so you know they're going to be loving it. And they're going to be simulcasting. We're simulcasting now on like 4 things. Well, they will be doing the same on the WCIU. The U. Man, I miss that channel. They don't have that here in Wisconsin. I guess the one bright side about me being in Wisconsin, I don't know if anybody does, but if you have T-Mobile, you get T-Mobile Tuesdays. They give away the MLB.TV, and usually I get it to watch all the other games. Well, now I'm just getting it to be able to watch the team I actually want to watch. And other games, I just won't be able to watch the Brewers. So, I mean, silver lining, the White Sox do play the Brewers on opening day, so we just watch it on regular TV. I got that. That's what I got here for you for that. But let's talk about the players. Let's talk about all the things. Let's talk about spring training, and let's get into it because as Eric said earlier, it's a new era in the White Sox baseball. I'm going to NXT this week in Houston. Hell yeah, Eric. Eric, let me know how it is. And you should, and we need to make it happen somehow for you to get a picture with Miss Tatum Paxley. I think you getting a picture with Miss Tatum Paxley would be great. That would be some fantastic stuff, and I think it would be great to see. So we gotta make that happen, guys. If I think Eric wouldn't know what to do if he saw Tatum Paxley. But I am going to kind of just not go all over the place, but we are going to kind of go all over the place. So let's start off with it. I want to talk. Shout out to Chuck Garfien. He's mentioned us on the on White Sox Talk podcast on the broadcast a few times. Shout out to Chuck Garfien for this because I did just take this tweet off of Twitter, and he had this to say about Mr. Austin Hayes. Austin Hayes has been crushing it this spring. He crushed a 3-run home run to left today. In the first inning, he slashed in 333. He's gotten 394 and 733 as Chuck typed this. Austin Hayes has been a guy that's been crushing it in spring training, and we've talked about it a lot here on the channel when I am over on Tino's time, whenever we're talking about it. Sometimes, and especially in spring training or preseason, whatever sport you're in, there's sometimes these guys that have such a hot spring that you got to call them up. And with the White Sox trading Robert, with injuries to players and everything else going on, you really don't have that security. Austin Hayes is somebody that definitely could. So I do think he'll make the team. We'll go over it in a little bit about the guys I think will and won't make the teams, or make the team. But Austin Hayes having one hell of a spring training. Now, let's get into the newest face of that was his stats. We'll go over that in a second. But let's go over the newest face. Oh, well, that's not the newest face of the there we go. This guy. Yeah, okay, well, he's on the picture. We got Mir Akami. Hopefully I'm saying that right. After Deech helped me for a half hour, probably not. But Mir Akami, he's here. Mooney, I think is the nickname that they call him. Mooney. So he's here. He's going to play first base. He's going to DH a little bit. And as Eric said earlier, he could very well have a type of Jose Abreu type of a season. And now let's go over his stats and his career milestones that he's had in Japan and what he's done in his career if you don't know who this guy is. 2022, big milestone. He won the Triple Crown, hit 56 home runs, and posted a 1.168 OPS. His career in the NPB to 2018 to 2025 record, 265 home runs, 722 RBIs, and a 273 batting average over 8 seasons. In the 2025 season, he was limited to 69 games due to injuries, but still managed to 22 home runs and an OPS of 1.051. And hey, that's pretty good. Scouting report for him, if you don't know, you're about to know. No for elite raw power, 80 grade, but carries high strikeout rates, approximately 28 to 30% in recent years. Listen, if Will Venable is our manager. If he is going to go out there and hit home runs and maybe get on base a little bit, I'm okay with him striking out 1 or 2 times a game. It's going to happen. It is what it is. And sometimes you got to take the good for the bad, and you got to, just figure out what's going to work and what's not. And I think it's definitely, I'm sure White Sox fans, because we all know White Sox fans, they all freak out and have mental breakdowns every time a guy grounds out. So myself included, I definitely have, because I'm so traumatized by the guys that we've had so far in this league, or in this team in past and everything else like that I like to see it. So I'm going to give this guy time. We're going to see what happens. We're going to let it play out. And we're going to hope for the best, because they did not sign him to a long-term deal. Not the deal that these insiders and that everybody thought he was going to get. I think he's a good addition for a White Sox team that's not necessarily trying to win now, but for a team that had a lot of teams on their toes, and Andrew Benintendi talked about it in a interview today with Chuck Garfien about how there's a lot of games that they could have won last year, and we talked about it all year last year. These were the games, the bullpen. Who are we throwing out there after the fourth inning? Deech, Justin, and I think we went over it. It was like missionary position all the time. It was like, who are we throwing out there? We're having this guy do that. This guy has a save. That guy has a save. And again, we have the new dude from Toronto, and I'm not even going to try to even attempt to pronounce his name. So you guys all know who I'm talking about if you're baseball fans and everything else like that. New closer for the White Sox, we'll say that. And hopefully he is somebody that can hold it down in the bullpen, in the back, and he can sit there and have that security to know that we can go to him maybe 4 or 5 outs. And, with the Mike Vassals, the Grant Taylors, the other guys that they have in the bullpen, we got Jordan Hicks from Baltimore, from the Boston Red Sox. They made another trade with the Red Sox this past offseason. I think that it should be a good thing, and it should be really interesting to see how all of these guys do. But Murakami is somebody, again, not going to freak out about right away, but I'm excited to see him play on the south side. And as you see there, his main position it was third base in Japan, but he is expected to play first base and designated hitter in and with the Chicago White Sox. Now let's talk about opening day because I already showed you guys the picture. Let's start with our guy, Mr. Shane Smith. It's Shane Smith, bump day 2 weeks from today. He's going to be facing his former team on opening day in the first game of the regular season. This man went from being a Rule 5 draft pick, being dropped by the Brewers, not having too much success there, necessarily just not given the opportunity. But now he's here on the south side. Deech has done some fantastic things, and I think his whole entire family follows us. So shout out to the Shane Smith family out there and everybody that is a part of that, because it's nice to have a guy that pitches on the south side that actually knows what the hell he's doing. Well, now he's going to head up here to Milwaukee and up here in the Wisconsin Knights, the Cheeseheads, and he's going to try to mow down some Brewers. So it's awesome to see. I can't wait to see it in 2 weeks. We'll be back here next Thursday to talk and preview the game. But opening day starter, Shane Smith, can't wait to see it go down. But some injury news that did happen yesterday. We got to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it, but we got to talk about it. It is Mr. Kyle Teel. Kyle Teel running around first base. I swear to God, it gave me so much PTSD from watching Jose Abreu, Eloy Jimenez, Yoel Moncada, Luis Robert, Yomer Sanchez, Lenin Sosa, Eloy Jimenez again, face planting, all of them just hobbling around. But the one thing that I know about this guy that's different about all of those guys combined, this guy got the fight, and this guy's going to want to get back like Seth Rollins got back from a torn rotator cuff in 4 weeks. So it says he'll be out 4 to 6 weeks, but I don't know why. Feel like he'll be back in about 4 weeks. I'll go on the lower end. I don't know. I feel like Kyle Teel, he's going to want to get out there sooner rather than later. And I was talking to Deech about it while he was helping me get ready for the show, and some things I wanted and we should talk about and everything else like that. The catcher position is one position that we actually have depth at that we really don't have to worry about with Corey Lee, with Edgar Quero, and with a couple guys that possibly they could use in the AAA. Blessing in disguise, like I said, it did not happen to anybody that we don't have, and we're slim at positions. Because if it happens to other players, then we'll be having Lenin Sosa again playing every day. And again, nothing against Lenin Sosa. Lenin Sosa doing his damn thing. But Lenin Sosa, you guys know what I mean. But let's talk about the World Baseball Cup the World Baseball Classic real quick, because the White Sox do have some representative, and there is one guy I just really wanted to talk about. We just talked about Mr. Kyle Teel. We have Murakami. We have Curtis Mead. We got Sir Anthony Dominguez. Hey, I got it. There we go. We just had to try it once. Sir Anthony. There we go. That's what we're going to call him. Sir Anthony is the closer that we got from the Blue Jays that I was talking about. And then we got Sam Antoncani. I think this guy was the one Deech was talking about. He could very well be up in May, if I'm not mistaken. But there's one guy left we haven't mentioned. We have to talk about him. It's the Cuban Missile, Alexei. Yes, yes. You'll love to see it. Alexei Ramirez, one of my favorite all-time shortstops for the Chicago White Sox. One of my favorite players of all time. Wasn't here when the White Sox were the greatest team of all time, but he was here when the White Sox were a lot fun and a lot more fun to watch than they have been as of late. Besides last year, because last year it felt like we were getting back to that. But Alexei Ramirez in the World Baseball Classic, it's just so cool to see this man back in a baseball uniform. And maybe he'll be on the mound or he'll be in the field when somebody else pitches a perfect game. Because for me, I don't know. I am always going to remember, and that is like engraved into my brain, that call from Hawk Harrelson. So we will have to wait and see what that. What is? I don't even know what this is. Let's see what it is. Oh, I didn't even click on it. It is Jose Contreras. Speaking of 2005 White Sox and the former White Sox players, let's talk about from Double Duty Classic to World Baseball Classic. Joseph Contreras, the son of World Series champion Jose Contreras, is on the stage and on the team for Team Brazil. I mean, did you just age everybody or did you just age everybody? Because the fact that we got now sons competing in the MLB, that's crazy. That's just insane. Imagine if they just built a kid version of the World Series pitching rotation with Burley, Garcia, Contreras, Garland. I think they all got kids. Like Heath Slater. I got kids, you know. So, you know, that's just really cool. I really did want to bring up there with that. So, Joseph Contreras doing his damn thing. Also, we had to talk about the Double-A team, the Birmingham Barons are receiving, and they did receive this past week. They received their World Series championship ring, or their championship, not World Series, but their championship ring for winning the championship last year in Double-A. So shout out to the Barons. Just means the White Sox got some great kids in the minor leagues, and they try and finally be doing the damn thing. Tomorrow, for early access, we talked about it earlier. I didn't get early access for this game. I'm sorry. It was either early access for 2K or early access for MLB. And, I mean, as you guys know, we are as actively right now playing all the modes on the game. We played the Showcase, the My Rise. You guys are voting right now on what's next. My Rise will be playing, but tomorrow or at 11 p.m. like 2K last week, you can play You can play MLB The Show 26 with Mr. Aaron Judge on the cover. This is the deluxe edition. In the regular edition, I think he does just have his regular Yankee uniform on, but that was still kind of cool. And again, for me, I just don't play the baseball games like that, so you can wait a couple more days, and we still got more to play on Showcase. As I said, you guys are voting on, or in My Rise, we still got more My Rise to play, so you guys are voting on that. So we'll be okay if we wait till next Tuesday, but if you can't, you can still get your early access to the MLB 2K or MLB The Show. It's gonna take me a minute to not say 2K anymore. We're getting so used to it. But MLB The Show 26 comes out tomorrow. I know JPJ Wrestling, part of the Main Event Network, is getting it. So go hang out with him on Twitch. I know he'll be there. But
what do you call it when you like run up to somebody's house and you ring the doorbell and run away with the answer?
Ding dong ditch.
Okay, thank you. That's what I thought. But like, there's a bunch of people online that are saying something else.
Yeah, ding dong ditch. We're gonna ding dong ditch the deluxe edition, and I'll wait till Tuesday. But when it does come out on Tuesday, we will be doing some content. Maybe even next weekend we'll do some content on MLB The Show. We'll see how that plays out.
Guys, like ding dong ditch is all you call it. Yeah.
I do want to talk about one trade that we have not talked about yet. Is the Luis Robert trade. And that is this past January. We did trade the last part of the White Sox core that was left. Luis Robert, he did have a good couple years, one really good year, and a couple, not so good years. But okay. But as I say that, Kyler Murray, guys, we'll just talk about it. Why not? NFL news, breaking news. Kyler Murray is going to be now the backup to J.J. McCarthy in Minnesota. Interesting. I don't know. But back to Luis Robert, the trade that happened this past January. Luis Robert, the center fielder, obviously, as we said. The White Sox did get pitching prospect Truman Pauly, and they got Ronald Acuna's brother, Luis Angel, or Luis Angel Acuna. So he is 28 years old. Or no, Robert's 28 years old. So Robert is, as I said, the last part of the core that has been traded. And yes, maybe the White Sox could have gotten more. And yes, maybe they should have. But Robert hasn't played up to it. We've seen the last couple of years. He's been able to rob every ball that tries to go for a home run. I mean, I'll give him that. His defense is on point. But I did also hear today from Deech and others that he hasn't even played a spring training game. And if you haven't played a spring training game yet, maybe he's okay. Maybe they're being okay. But apparently he's got lower body issues, and he's not the way the Mets thought he was going to be. So, for the Mets to be able to even take the contract and to move on from it, it is what it is. It sucks that, again, one of my favorite players, and thanks for some of the memories, especially that Cubs memory. The Cubs memory might be the one and the biggest one we remember when he told those fans to shush because they thought that they were all that. But it's time for him to move on. He gets to go play in New York. He gets to go play with Bo Bichette, Francisco Lindor, and those New York Met players. So good luck to Luis Robert. And I never wish ill on any of these players, as much pain and suffering they put us through as fans and not being able to stay healthy and all of that. Again, they are just people, and it is what it is. And hopefully, just hopefully, one day that these players do what they got to do, because half of them ain't even in the MLB anymore. I think the two people that are left, besides a couple pitchers, are Yoan and Robert. Giolito's not on a team. Dylan Cease, did Dylan Cease sign on a team? Somebody in the chat, let me know. Eric, let me know. But it should be interesting. I'm excited to see Acuna. I would love to just tell people that we have an Acuna on our team, and they wouldn't even, I bet you, if you say Acuna and don't say the first name, they would definitely think of Ronald. So maybe his brother can make a bigger name for himself in the Chi-Towns, which would be great to see. And yeah, but let's talk about the schedule for this year, because the schedule did come out, obviously, when does the MLB schedule come out? I feel like it comes out randomly during the NFL season, and yeah, it's exciting, but I don't know. I just can't get into baseball till it gets warm, till the game comes out, baseball game comes out. I don't know, for me, it's just. But let's talk about the schedule. White Sox, they start off opening day, or 2 weeks from today, Thursday in Milwaukee. I would not be going to opening day. I'm definitely going to try to go to one of those games, but we'll see. And then they go to Miami. That's interesting. That's an interesting start to the season. Milwaukee all the way to Miami. And then they head on home a week from the opening days to play Toronto on opening day on the south side. So their first home stand will be the Blue Jays and the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles, who knows what they're going to be like. It's going to be interesting to see what the Orioles do, especially with what they were doing and how everything was going for them. I'm interested to see how it plays out. Then they obviously get the Royals on the road. Gotta love going to Kauffman Stadium. They come on back now. They play the Rays, Tampa Bay Rays at home. I think is that the Athletics that they play? Right? Athletics. Then they play in Arizona. Shit, maybe I'll just head to Arizona and go with the Golden Sponge. Golden Sponge, we're going to another baseball game. The last baseball game I went to with him, he dragged me to Wrigley Field to watch the Padres and Cubs play on his birthday. So we had a good time, though. There was a fan that ran on the field, and his aunt and uncle paid for a limo. So shout out to the Golden Sponge family for that. But they play Arizona, and then we're home for Washington and the Angels. In May, we are starting off with the Padres and the Angels. Well, it looks like we're staying up late on my birthday, May 6th, as they play in Anaheim, which means it will be a 9 o'clock game. On that upcoming weekend, they have a long homestand with Seattle, KC, and the Cubs. We got to love the Cubs. Hopefully the Crosstown Classic will be fun this year. We're going to skip a little bit through, and they play the Dodgers, the Braves at home this year. Yankees, and obviously on the road and at home like they always do. If I'm not mistaken, there really isn't too much that changes, because every team does face each other in some sort of way. Just like this year, the White Sox will play in Milwaukee, but then next year, the Brewers will play in Chicago. So that's kind of how they do it. Kind of like football, but they play every team. We do play in St. Louis this year. Colorado, we did play Colorado last year here. So we are in there at Coors Field when Colston Montgomery made his debut. Well, we're ending the season with the Rockies in Chicago. I guess that's right. We will head to Luis Robert will be making his Chicago return on the weekend in August, April 21st or August 21st through the 23rd as we play the Mets. So the White Sox, they got an interesting schedule. It's going to be a fun year, hopefully. And hopefully there's just a lot of good things better than bad. And for me, again, I'm not expecting them to win the World Series. I'm not expecting them to win 100 games. I'm just expecting them to play good baseball, play fundamental baseball, and win more games than they did last year. And we'll hope for the best there. But that is the schedule that we have going through for you. We have that. I did want to talk about, because if you guys did not know, and we have watched a lot of NFL drafts here. I think we've watched 4 NFL drafts on the channel. And the White Sox have the first pick in this year's draft. If you didn't know, they won the lottery over the winner, and it was a good old time. You love to see it. It's such maybe just maybe the White Sox can have nice things, and we could have something good in our life and in our world of the baseball planet. But for us, this is the guy that apparently everybody's talking about and that everybody thinks is going to be the man to go out there and to maybe change the perspective of the White Sox. So it is Rouch. I'm just going to go Roach. Yeah, I'm going to Roach. He's like a roach. Maybe he'll be a roach on the base path and be able to go out there and just steal a bunch of steal a bunch of bases. He will be, and they say he's going number 1. He ranks as the number 3 overall prospect on the top 100 prospects list following his pro debut. Trailing only follows shortstop Jesus Made, the Brewers, and Leo D. Various on the Athletics. The best all-around college shortstop since Troy Tulowitzki. That's actually big praise, because Troy Tulowitzki, when he first came in the league, he was so good. He has launched 9 home runs in his first 16 games for the UCLA this season. He'll get a cup of coffee in AA, and this summer settling him on course to reach Chicago at some point in 2027. So I will definitely learn how to pronounce this guy's name as the show goes on and as the episodes go on. But for now, that's who the White Sox could be drafting at the end of the year or in the beginning of the draft. And we may have a new shortstop, third baseman on our hands this year. But I think that is everything that I have picture-wise. So let's go over a couple things that Eric, I appreciate you in the chat, that Deech and I talked about. I also forgot the White Sox got Eric Fetty. So the starting rotation, we talked about Shane Smith. We have Eric Fetty also. We got Jordan Hicks, part of that trade that they sent this past winter. So they do have options in the rotation, and we'll go over those more in a little bit. And we also have some of the bench spots. I just want to make sure I get these names out there before, in case I don't see them. But obviously, we got Brooks Baldwin. We got Lenyn Sosa. We got Lamonte Wade. We got Jared Kelenic, the dude from the Mariners, the Braves, that was supposed to be like the big top prospect. So there are a lot of guys that the White Sox do have that could very well fill out this team and fill out this rotation for the year. But I do want to go over the rotation and the guys that we do have right now. So we have such players and guys that we could very well see. Jonathan Cannon, obviously. Sean Burke. Davis Martin. We have Anthony Kay. Anthony Kay, I think he could be a starting pitcher, but if I'm not mistaken, he could be, and he's going to be in the bullpen. We will have to see what happens with Drew Thorpe this year. Drew Thorpe is somebody that missed all of last year. He was here in 2025, had a cup of coffee, played a couple games, had one game that I always remember because it was the game that I moved up here in Wisconsin, and he pitched, and the White Sox actually won a game on their way of losing 121 games. But we'll have to see where that goes. Jordan Leisure, obviously, will be part of the bullpen. Tyler Gilbert, I feel like, will definitely be part of the bullpen. Sir Anthony Dominguez was the closer, as I was talking about. Alexander Alberto is a reliever, somebody to keep an eye on. And there's just a lot of guys. Grant Taylor, Mike Vassell, as we talked about earlier. Sean Newcomb. If you don't know, you haven't heard that name in a while. It might be a little bit since you have heard that name because you haven't heard. He used to be, I think at one point, he was like a very top prospect for the MLB and for pitching prospects. But now he's here on the south side. So for the pitching rotation, it really should be interesting because other than Shane Smith, maybe they go Davis Martin and Jonathan Cannon. But the way Jonathan Cannon has been pitching, I don't know what it is with him. He can't figure it out. He isn't doing what we've seen him do in the past, and he just doesn't seem to be escalating in the growth of being able to develop into hopefully being a great starting pitcher. So we'll have to see how and where that goes. Curtis Mead. Curtis Mead, he had a good year last year. Nothing wrong with Curtis Mead. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Curtis Mead. Chase Mydroff, that might be one of my new favorite players of all time. Definitely going to be the second baseman this year. Acuna, we talked about him a little bit ago. He could very well be in the league, could be on the team at some point. I think he definitely will start in AAA. But again, with the injuries and stuff, and we don't know what could happen in the next 2 weeks. But Acuna could be on his way on to the south side. Brooks Baldwin is injured. I personally did not know that. So his elbow is injured, and that was March 12th. So I guess that was today. So it looks like Brooks Baldwin is injured, and now that will change things for the outfield, more or less likely. But one thing we won't have to change is Colston Montgomery being at shortstop or possibly maybe third base. I think maybe shortstop would be more or less likely for him. Maybe Miguel Vargas at first, and then Mercado at first, and then we have Vargas at DH or Vargas at third. There's so many different options that they can do. Lenyn Sosa, Edgar Quero, and then obviously Kyle Teal. We have Corey Lee still. Corey Lee is still there. He is not going anywhere. Andrew Benintendi, he is like now the newest staple and the longest tenured White Sox besides Sosa, I think, on the team now. Miguel Vargas, people want to trade Miguel Vargas. Well, you ain't getting Miguel Vargas, I'm sorry to tell you. Austin Hayes, we talked about Austin Hayes having one hell of a spring training. I think Austin Hayes is going to be a guy that we got to keep an eye out, and he could very well be a guy that has a type of really good start to the season with the injuries. Jared Kelenic is somebody we talked about. He was on the Mariners. He was supposed to be the big star. He was supposed to be the next big thing. Just never worked out in Seattle. He got traded to the Braves. He kind of did a little bit, didn't do anything crazy, but now this could be an opportunity and a way for him to be able to go out there and give and have an opportunity to put some things in there and figure some things out. And for me, I'm just happy White Sox baseball's back. I love myself some baseball. Having it on every day, depending on what time it is, 7, 1, 6, 5, whatever, wherever they're playing. You know your boy Tino is always watching. And as I said, we will be live for some games this year. I know we didn't do as many as I personally was hoping to do last year. We didn't do as many. But I definitely am going to incorporate it or maybe just find one day a week that we will definitely go live for the games. And we'll figure it out from there. But I think this is a good way to end the first show back at the Southside Boys for 2026. The last thing we do have to talk about is our actual scheduled and official programming day every single week, starting March 23rd at 5 o'clock. Tino, Deech, and Justin, the three of us will be here every Monday before we go live for Monday Night Raw. Don't think because we go live for the Southside Boys, we ain't going to be here for your wrestling. And you need your wrestling intake, so we'll be back here an hour after we're done with the Southside Boys to come and hang out and watch a 2.5-hour Monday Night Raw. But every Monday starting August, March 23rd, we're going to be here live, 5 o'clock on Mondays to talk White Sox baseball pre-game, the game that there is on Monday. If they're off on Monday, we'll recap the weekend and we'll talk about all the things. I will be here, Deech will be here, Justin will be here, and I'm sure there will be weeks we'll have guests. Some week maybe people can't make the show, but we'll figure out ways to work around that, and we'll go from there. But March 23rd, join the boys back, all three of us, as we talk some White Sox baseball. We talk about what's been going down, and we'll be getting you ready for the first series of the season, as it will be in against the Milwaukee Brewers, and I should know by then if I am actually going or not. So maybe we will, maybe we won't. I don't know yet. So we'll figure that out. But we're not done yet here today, because if you know me, Mr. No Days Off, Mr. Tino Time, Mr. Let's Live All Day, every day, we're live back here in 2 hours, 20 minutes, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. So I lied. I guess it was. Okay, so we still have a little bit of a break, but it's still 2 hours. Come and hang out as we watch some TNA Impact on AMC over on Tino's Time. And make sure you go check out that. Make sure you go check out the Main Event Network, the logo in the top right above my White Sox hat. The wrestling crew over there. I appreciate you guys if you have not, and if you're watching over on the Southside Boys. But if you're watching on Tino's Time, you hear me say that every single day. And I do appreciate everybody that has continued to support the channel, been here since day one, Southside Boys, and everything else. We are on the road to 100 over here on the Southside Boys. So if you have not yet, and if you liked anything I said here today, or if you're just looking for something new to talk, somebody new to talk some baseball with, I'm your guy. And you're going to love Deech and Justin if you don't know who they are. And if you do, I'm sure you already do. But, guys, appreciate you all. I'm going to go eat some dinner, and I'll see you all tonight over on Tino's Time at 8 o'clock for a little TNA on AMC. Pull up. Bang, bang. Bang, bang.